Castle Bay, Chapter 18. Emily was standing in the middle of the construction chaos at the safe house, trying to convince the foreman that the deadline for completion wasn't a joke, when her cell phone rang. "Excuse me," she told him, "I have to take this. Look over your schedule and see what you can do to meet that deadline. There are women with kids who need to be in here before Thanksgiving. Do you really want to tell them they have no roof over their heads for the holiday?" Andy Crawford gave her a hard look, then walked away, shaking his head. "Gabby, hey," Emily said. "Sorry to take so long, but I was in the middle of something. How's everything in the world of public relations?" "Insane," Gabby said, "but I called to check on you." "Why? You don't seem to be back in Sandcastle Bay yet. I thought you and Boone were working things out, but it's been a while since you've shown your face. And yes, you can thank grandmother for passing along that tidbit of information. She's getting anxious, and I'm supposed to ferret out the information she wants." Emily explained about the deadline pressure on the safe house. Plus, Boone's in-laws are there, raising a ruckus about him letting me anywhere near BJ. "I figured it's best for me to lay low until they go back to Florida. It might be better for them to spend some time with you, so they conclude you're not the devil," Gabby suggested. "I doubt I have enough charm to pull that off," Emily said candidly. "Given how they treat Boone, I'm more likely to say the wrong thing and cause even more trouble." "When are they going home?" Gabby asked. "That seems to be the question of the year," Emily admitted. "They haven't given Boone a date. It's making him a little crazy. Having them underfoot isn't easy, but he feels he owes it to BJ to make an effort. Well, whatever you do, don't let them keep you away indefinitely," Gabby advised. "If they realize their presence has chased you all, they might never go back to Florida." "That is not going to happen," Emily insisted. "Not that I intend to admit this to Boone, but in a way it's been a relief to have the extra time here. The deadline on this renovation is a killer. If I take off, it's going to be a lot harder to convince all the people working on the project that the deadline is written in stone. I'm just saying, don't let the farmers ruin this for the two of you," Gabby said. "We won't. Now tell me about you. Everything okay at work?" "Same old craziness," Gabby said. "And your guy?" Emily thought she detected a faint hesitation before Gabby finally said, "Pause, okay. Gabby, is something wrong? Have you broken up? Was he upset about you being gone so long?" "No, nothing like that," Gabby said. Despite her sister's reassurances, Emily didn't like the way she sounded. "Gabriella, why aren't you saying anything?" Gabby laughed. "Though it sounded forced, you only use my whole name when you're annoyed with me, just like Mom." "I always got answers for her, so I thought I tried it," Emily admitted. "There are no answers," Gabby insisted. "Not even any questions. I guess I'm just a little down. I miss being with you and Samantha." "It was fun being together again," Emily agreed, "like old times. But in other ways, I realized you can't go back again." Gabby said, a mournful note in her voice. "We're adults now, with all the complications that go with that." "Gabby," Emily began, determined to get to the bottom of her sister's odd mood. "Gotta run, sweetie. Take care. We'll talk again soon." Before Emily could protest, Gabby had hung up. "What on earth?" Emily murmured, staring at her phone. She was about to make a call to Samantha to see if she had any insights, but Andy Crawford was in front of her, his displeasure evident. She forced a smile. "What have you worked out?" she asked. "If I bring in a few guys on overtime for a couple of days, we can maybe pull this off," he said. Maybe that's not good enough. 4 days of overtime and I can guarantee it. Then 4 days it is. He eyed her suspiciously. You got the budget for that? I thought we were doing this on a shoestring. And out of the goodness of our hearts, she confirmed. I can't pay my men with a lot of holiday cheer, he groused. I'll see that they're paid, she promised, even if it came out of her own pocket. Want me to put it in writing? For an instant she thought Andy was going to pull out a pen and a scrap of paper, but then he shrugged. Nah, I trust you. She nudged him in the ribs. Thanks so much for that ringing endorsement. That finally drew a smile from him. I've never seen you so worked up about a project before. You usually just roll with the punches and use a little smooth talk to pacify the clients. This job really matters. That's why, she explained. Think about it, Andy. This could be the first time in who knows how long that some of these families have had a Thanksgiving meal without worrying about being slapped around or worse. He blinked at her words, clearly shaken. An angry glint appeared in his eyes. It's been that bad for him? I guess I didn't realize that. I mean, I knew this was supposed to be a safe house, but for some reason it hadn't sunk in what that meant. Well, it has been that bad, and that's why we're going to make this deadline no matter what, she told him. He nodded, clearly on board 100% now. With maybe a few days to spare, he'd promised. Leave it to me. She grinned. I knew I could count on you. He blushed furiously. Well, just don't get any ideas about taking advantage of my good nature with any sob stories for your usual clients, you hear? Impulsively, she gave him a hug. Wouldn't dream of it. Stop that, he grumbled. You're messing with my tough image. Emily chuckled as he walked off barking orders at his men, as if to contradict the scene some of them might have witnessed. This is going to work, she said to herself as he went. This place is going to be finished, and it was going to be beautiful and far more important, a place where at least a few more battered women would be safe from harm. Boone walked into his house after work and found the pile of luggage in the foyer, and Jody and Frank waiting for him in the living room. They were side by side on the sofa, clearly anxious to make some sort of announcement. You're leaving? He asked, working hard to hide his elation. Not exactly, Frank said, casting a resigned look at his wife. We've leased a house for the winter, Jody said. We want to be there for BJ's school play and for the holidays. In the spring, we'll decide if we want to come back permanently. I see, Boone said, his spirits sinking. Where's the house? Just a few blocks away. BJ will be able to come to our house after school now, Jody said, a triumphant note in her voice. You won't have to worry about where he is or what he's doing. I haven't been worried about it, Boone said tightly. He comes to the restaurant with me some afternoons, goes home with his friends some of the time, and is involved in after school activities a couple of times a week. I don't see that pattern changing. Jody frowned at his response. You intend to keep him from spending time with us? Of course not. It just won't always be right after school, he responded, determined to keep control of his son's activities and whereabouts. How can you be so inconsiderate and ungrateful? She demanded. After we did this to help you out? If you were really doing it to help me out, you had discussed it with me first, Boone replied mildly. Don't get me wrong, Jody. BJ will love having you here through the holidays. It's great that you're going to stick around. We'll just have to work out the details about when he's going to spend time with you. Even at his age, he has things he's committed to doing, things he enjoys. Of course, they all knew that the real goal was to ensure that none of those things involved time with Emily. And with this plan in place, there was little chance they wouldn't cross paths with Emily and find an opportunity to make things more difficult for her and Boone. Still, in an attempt to pacify them, he said, "As soon as you get settled in a rental, we'll sit down and work out a schedule of times you can have with BJ. Since things come up, we'll probably have to do it on a week by week basis." Jody opened her mouth to argue, but Frank put a hand on her arm. "That'll be great, Boone. Come on, Jody. We better take our things over to the new place and get settled. Since we didn't have come prepared for a long stay, we're going to need to spend a little time shopping for warmer clothes than we brought you. Don't forget you left a few boxes of winter things here, just in case you came back up here this time of year." Boone reminded him they're in the garage. For an instant, Jody's eyes lit up. "That's right, we did do that. Frank, put those boxes in the car right now. I'd like to have another word with Boone." "Jody, now's not the time," Frank said, his expression distressed. "There's never going to be a good time," she argued. "I might as well get this out there now." Frank looked as if he wanted to argue, then shrugged and gave Boone an apologetic look before heading out to load up the car. "What is it, Jody?" Boone asked, his stomach in knots and his antenna on full alert. "You should know that if we don't look like how things look the next few months, Frank and I are considering legal action," she announced. "So that's what this is really about," Boone said flatly. "You want custody of BJ, and you intend to snoop around looking for excuses to file for it. Is that it?" She nodded, not even bothering with a phony attempt to deny it. "I think it's what Jenny would want," she said piously. He gave her a pitying look. "Then you didn't know Jenny at all," he said quietly. "Jenny would want our son to be right here with me. She would want you to play an important role in his life, which is what I've been trying my best to allow." He held her gaze. "But if you insist on making threats like this, I will keep you away from him, Jody. And I'll happily go to court to make that nice and legal, too. I doubt your threats to rip him away from his only remaining parent just because you're being spiteful will sit well with a judge, not when it's balanced against my efforts to make sure his grandparents remain in his life." She blinked at his quiet resolve. Apparently she'd expected a different reaction, perhaps an explosive one she could use against him. Tears welled up in her eyes. "I can't lose that boy, Boone. He's all that's left of Jenny," she whispered brokenly. "Neither of us needs to lose him, Jody," he said more gently. "It's up to you how ugly this gets." She stood up shakingly and started for the door. Boone followed. He saw then just how much she aged since Jenny's death, and for the first time really understood the toll that death had taken on her. It allowed him to feel sorry for her rather than focusing on his anger over her threat. Outside, he touched her shoulder. She glanced up at him. "What?" she asked. "I loved her too," he said softly. "No matter what you think I did. And I tried to make sure every day I had her that she knew that. He knew he felt some days, but it was never for one of commitment." Jody merely nodded. When she was in the car, Frank glanced over at her, then back at Boone. He lifted his hand and away. "Talk to you soon," he called out. "If you need any help over at the new place, let me know," Boone said. Frank nodded and pulled out of the driveway. Boone watched them go, wishing he could breathe a sigh of relief. But something told him there were plenty of problems ahead. First on the list was how on earth he was going to tell Emily about his decision to stay in town. "Oh boy," Emily said when Boone informed her that the farmers intended to stick around for a few months. "How's that going to work for you and me? I mean, am I banished?" "Absolutely not," he said at once. "Then what? You want to rub their noses in our relationship? That's a surefire way to make trouble for yourself. I was thinking once they got to know you, they see that you're not a threat." "Oh, you wonderful, sweet man," You're as naive as Gabby, she said. She said the same thing that I should show them I'm not the devil. Exactly, Boone said. But I am a threat to life as they knew it, she said. But life as they knew it is no more, he argued. Jenny's gone. That can't be changed. No, but right now there's no other woman in her place. Jody can think of herself as the most important woman in BJ's life, stepping in for her daughter. Maybe she'd be able to accept some other woman in that role eventually, but me? Not a chance, at least if what you told me about her disapproval of our past is true. Oh, it's true, he admitted with obvious reluctance. I'm not going to let them ruin this for us, Em. We'll all have to find a way to coexist. And I think the sooner we do, the better. Meaning, BJ wants you here for his Halloween play. I think you should come. That's next week, she said, trying to envision how she could juggle her schedule to make it work. She owed it to Boone to try, to BJ too. Can you do it? He pressed. Maybe I can keep the peace by offering them a chance to keep BJ over the weekend, and you and I can have some time alone. Emily laughed. There's that optimism I love. You're using BJ as a consolation prize. No, I'm not, he protested. We'll all be getting exactly what we want. It's a win-win. And you don't think Jody will store that away for as father for her suit if she ever files one against you? She'll tell the court you couldn't wait to get rid of your son so you could spend time with me. Boone sighed. I see your point. Okay, no sleepovers for BJ or for you and me while you're here, he said, sounding resigned. Please, Em, come anyway. I need to see you. I need to remind myself that what we have is worth fighting for. She heard the frustration in his voice and knew she needed to find a way to be there, if only to be supportive. Let me see what I can work out. But you will find a way? He pressed. I will find a way, she assured him. But I am going to expect one very big award, even if we have to hide in a walk-in freezer at castles. Boone finally chuckled. I'll keep you warm. Never doubted that for a second, she said. I'll have my schedule by the time we talk tomorrow. Love you. I love you too, she said, even though there were times, especially lately, where she was having more and more trouble figuring out if love was nearly enough to make their complicated relationship work, especially with one person so intent on sabotaging it. BJ was bouncing up and down with excitement. Grandma Jody, are you sure I look really like a ghost? She chuckled. You're the most impressive scary ghost I've ever seen, she assured him. Don't you think so, Fink? Absolutely, Fink confirmed. Have you thanked Grandma Jody for making the costume? Boone asked, and for helping out with the others for some of your classmates? He had to give Jody credit. She had pitched in to make the play a success by taking on a task that too many mothers hadn't had time for. Thanks, Grandma Jody, BJ said dutifully. Mrs. Barnes said thanks too. I gotta go. She's waiting for us to take our places. I'll see you after, right? Yes, and we're all going out to celebrate, Boone reminded him. Keep your costumes on. We're going to take lots and lots of pictures. She hadn't told him or anyone else about Emily joining them. Maybe that was a mistake, but he figured a surprise was the only way he was going to pull this off with a major upheaval. He was praying that BJ's presence would keep Jody from doing or saying anything crazy. Back in the auditorium, he spotted Cora Jane and Emily saving their seats on the aisles. There are 3 seats over there, he told Jody, staring them across the room. When Jody spotted Cora Jane, she obviously guessed the identity of the woman beside her. She froze in place. Absolutely not, she said, scowling at Boone. How could you ruin this night for me? Tonight isn't about you, Boone reminded her. It's about BJ, and he wants Emily and Cora Jane to be here. He wants you and Frank here too. Can we all manage to get along for his sake for just this one night? Of course we can, Frank said, casting a warning look at his wife. I, for one, do not intend to miss my grandson's play for any reason, Jody. She sucked in a deep breath and followed him into the row of seats, placing himself as far from Emily as possible. Boone sat between Frank and Emily. His father-in-law leaned forward. Nice to see you, Cora Jane, he said. It's been a long time. It has been, she replied. Jody, you're looking good. Jody remained stonily silent. I don't think you've met my granddaughter Emily, Cora Jane continued as if nothing was amiss. Frank nodded in acknowledgement of the introduction. Jody stared straight ahead. Boone glanced at Emily. You okay? Sure, but that deep freeze at Castles is sounding better and better. It has to be warmer than here. It's going to get better, Boone said with a confidence he was far from feeling. Whatever her feelings are about you and me, Jody won't spoil this for BJ. I'm counting on that. I'll do my part, she promised. The lights went down then and the play began. Despite the scary tape music, there were more laughs than terror generated by the performances. BJ played the best ghost ever in Boone's opinion. Pictures were snapped every few seconds with cell phones around the auditorium. Even Jody got into the spirit of things and took a few when BJ was on stage. The audience applauded loudly at the end, giving the kids a standing ovation. Despite the chuckles, none of them could hide. I don't suppose it was meant to be a comedy, Frank said, unable to hide the mirth in his eyes. Frank, stop that, Jody chided. They're just children. I thought they were wonderful. I can't wait to post some of these adorable pictures online so our friends in Florida can see them. I agree with you about them being wonderful, Emily said. And BJ looked fantastic. Mrs. Farmer, I understand you made his costume. Jody looked nonplussed at being addressed directly, but she managed to utter a tight, I did. Thank you. Well, let's get our budding star and head over to the restaurant, Boone said, being determinedly jovial. I've reserved one of the private rooms for our party. Jody immediately shook her head, but Frank said, we're not going to miss this, Jody. We can't disappoint BJ, and you know you're going to want our pictures taken with him wearing his costume. She looked as if she might argue, then backed down. No, you're right. Frank gave her an approving look. We'll meet you there, he told Boone. Emily gave Boone's hand a squeeze. I'll ride over with grandmother. Boone was tempted to tell her to ride with him, but it made sense for her to accompany Cora Jane. See you there, then. So far, the evening had been gone according to plan. There had been no bloodshed. The combatants had been civil. It gave him hope that the party would go off just as well, especially if everybody there focused on BJ and making it the perfect night for him. And there, he thought dryly, was some of that optimism Emily seemed to think was going to be his downfall. Like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Bye!